back to another episode here on the podcast. This is just the beginning. Now, today I kind of had inspiration to record today's episode just from the day I've had. Now, what does it say? It's Monday, it's the start of the week, and I woke up this morning feeling anxious, and not even that, just feeling just all over the place because I've been at work today. So I was trying to fit in my morning routine before I had to leave and fit in everything that I was trying to do before like 8:30, and I was just rushing around, but then I wasn't really sure what I was doing. I think it's because the weather just suddenly was just grey. Like it wasn't quite raining and it wasn't really that cold, but it was just grey and yeah, it just wasn't the best weather this morning. So I think that just put me in a really weird, just like a weird thrown mood this morning. But that mood really, really, really quickly improved. I was on like this training day with my work, and all the people there are kind of similar age to me, so it's all like 18 to 25, and that's what makes it so fun. And these training days are really laid back and really fun, really get you involved, and yeah, I've just really enjoyed it. So I drove from here at uni to the city, paid £8 I paid for parking today. I am not going to get over that, but apparently that's cheap. Like, a lot of people think that's cheap. I don't think that's cheap. Where I'm like back at home, it's about a fiver a day. And even that, I'm like, what? But yeah, £8. That's expensive. But then I sat in my car. I got there early just so, I had time. I feel like everyone can relate to that, just getting to a place early, especially when they don't really know where they're going. And I'm kind of a bit bummed because I paid for parking, because at the venue I saw there was street parking, but it was only pay and display for 4 hours, which I was quite annoyed at. I was like, oh, I'm here for 8 hours. And I was going to just park it there and then move it after the 4 hours. But I just went down the street and there was a car park literally 2-minute walk away. But then as I got in and was starting speaking to other people who were driving, they said that there is a venue car park. I just paid for this £8 as well, because you could do it on like Ringo, which is the app, just to pay on the phone, like when you enter, that kind of thing. And I spoke to the people there and other employees, and they were like, oh no, there's a car park around the back for free, like for the venue. I was like, really? Because I was the first person there, so obviously I didn't know, but apparently they all like were speaking to each other as they were driving in. It's like, oh damn it, that's so annoying. But I paid a bit to the council, so that's fine. But yeah, and then kind of part of what I want to get into in this episode is that I just didn't think about myself today in a good way. I wasn't caught up in my own mind. I wasn't caught up in what I was doing, what I was going to do tonight, tomorrow, how I was going to get home, what I was going to do. I was purely just invested in the training day, the task at hand, being around other people. And this is why I'm really excited to get a job and to fill my days, obviously in the summer, with things to do. Because when you're around other people, unless you're in this kind of pit that I guess a lot of us are sometimes, or a lot of the time, where you're just caught up in your own world, unless you're in that pit, you kind of get lost just in the day and how it unravels. And when you have a day, like if you have anxiety, I don't have diagnosed anxiety, but I know the feeling of getting really, really anxious and waking up some days and you're just feeling so much anxiety and you don't know why. I use the term anxiety as the emotion rather than the diagnosed term for it, because I think I've said this before, but I don't really like labels on things. And I know that a lot of people self-diagnose these days. But I'm just saying that I know what anxiety and anxious feelings are, basically. But when you have a day, if you've had a lot of days that are anxious, and I am like, over the past year, I've got more and more of an anxious person. And when you have days where you have no anxiety or really little anxiety, those days are honestly the best days I ever have. And today was one of those days, and I'm in such a good mood. And it just shows that from this morning, my mindset has completely changed. I didn't journal or read this morning, which is what I usually do, kind of first thing, just because I wanted to get everything fitted in. So I got up, did my yoga, didn't work out. I just went for a walk, and I was even rushing that just because I wanted to get to this venue. I didn't even wash my hair. I just put a little dry shampoo in it because I thought I didn't have time. And I had exactly enough time. I got to the venue, sat in my car, ate my breakfast in the car, and then I was a bit early in the venue, but it was perfect timing. But I did rush my morning, and it was just such a rushed morning. But now I look back and I'm like, today has been just such a good day because after the event, it kind of finished at about 4, just before 4. And I saw that there was a Starbucks on my way home. And I was going to go in the drive-through, but I thought, actually, let's go into the shop because I wanted to have a look at their like biscuit options because I was a bit hungry. And I love almond biscotti so much, dipped in a latte. Oh my god, I've not had that in so long. When I was in sixth form, my dad used to pick me and my sister up, like, or on the days he'd pick us up, because my mum was doing a college course in counselling, like for like half the week. So he'd pick us up on those days. And when he did, because obviously we couldn't drive because our birthday is in July, so that sucked, and it was COVID anyway. So it's not like we could have passed. But when he picked us up, he always, not always, 90% of the time, being the softy he is, I love it if you're listening to this, Dad, but he'd get us a Starbucks, a Costa, whatever was near him, like coffee place, he'd get us a drink, which was the nicest thing. So I'd always have an almond vanilla latte. I don't drink almond milk anymore. I'm on oat or soya. Soya usually, but oat if I want like the creamier taste. Or whichever one is free, because usually one of them is free. Usually it's soy, but I know places do oat as free as well. Or some places don't do either. But anyway, we'd always get us that, and sometimes he'd get a biscotti as well. And I just always dip it in, and that is just my favourite thing to do. And yeah, I know it's a bit posh. It's not posh, is it? I don't know, but love a biscotti. Um, there is a buzzing going on. I don't know if you can hear that, but it's really annoying me. It's the perks of uni accommodation. But so I decided to treat myself with that. And the nicest thing happened. Like I went up to order, and I don't know what it was. Maybe it was just my persona and the way I walked up. But the girl serving me was such a nice girl. Like she was so nice, and she literally said after I ordered, and I don't even know what I did, but she was like, "You should so work here. Like you'd be an ideal barista." And I had no idea what it was about me. I was just like, "What?" And I was in such a good mood anyway. It took me ages to get, because basically, if you've ever been to Coventry, and I know Coventry, but in Coventry, kind of like Birmingham and I guess London, and I guess quite a lot of um, like city places, they have ring roads. Oh my gosh, I hate ring roads, especially when you're trying to follow a sat nav and it tells you you should be in this lane, then that lane. Oh no, I hated it. It took me forever to get to the Starbucks that was literally just around the corner to where I was. But yeah, so I was a bit stressed from that. But I just went into this place and I was just really, really like just bubbly and happy, I guess. So that made my day that she said that. But so then I took it back. I went for a walk. I found my mum, and yeah, and then I came back to the flat, and then some friends were in the kitchen, so I had a conversation with them and really enjoyed that. I made some chocolate strawberries and chocolate dates, although I did burn the chocolate. And oh my gosh, I've not told you, but I basically have never had my sense of smell. If I like saying that in today's age, that makes me just sound like I've had COVID and lost my sense of smell, but I've never been able to smell. I think it's called nosmonia. like it's got a really weird name. I'm just looking it up now. Black, yeah. Oh, anosmia. Yeah. So it literally sounds like the worst like rip off name for it. But yeah, I can't even say it. Anosmia, and it's a medical condition. That's not a medical condition. I just literally cannot smell. But I was cooking this chocolate in a university microwave because usually when I melt chocolate, I do it over the stove in like a glass bowl. But obviously, I don't have that at uni. um, so I used a microwave, and oh, this microwave was awful, and I burnt the chocolate. But I took it out the microwave when I realised it was burnt, and I got this awful just whiff at my nose, and I made this awful sound like what is that? And they're like, oh my god, you've burnt the chocolate. And then they were like, you can smell now? But no, I've had this before. Like a few weeks ago, I walked into the kitchen. I know it is a university kitchen, but I walked in and opened the door, and this, I think it was gas, or that's what I imagine gases smell like, but this just horrific smell, this overwhelming air, like a sensation just went up my nose when I walked in. And I was just so surprised. But then everyone else in the kitchen was just really like shocked. They're like, I can't smell anything. But I'm thinking maybe that is just how the university kitchen smells. And I just suddenly got this sense of smell. And it's not like I could compare it to anything. It was just a really bad smell. But I didn't even know what a bad smell smells like. Like since these two things have happened, I haven't smelled a good smell. But I don't know, maybe I'm getting my sense of smell back after 19 almost years. When I first realized I didn't have a sense of smell was around the same time I was getting tested for like asthma and severe hay fever. So when I went to the doctors about those things, around the same time I also realized this anosmia. I can't even say that. That's such a weird word to say. But my mum, I think I was with my dad actually. Yeah, I was with my dad, and he like mentioned it. He was like, "Do you think this has anything to do with it?" And the GP was like, "No," because basically my parents didn't believe me. Um, because being a kid, if someone said, "Oh, you smell this," like, "Oh, it smells really nice," I just nod, and I didn't even think anything of it. And I would be like, sometimes if they go, "Oh, can you smell that?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, that smells nice." They go, "What? It's disgusting. Someone's farted," or something like that. And I'd always be really embarrassed. But I think this was around age 12, 13. And I just suddenly went, I can't smell. I was like, "Mum, Dad, I can't smell." So they just kept like testing me. And then they actually realized I actually can't smell. But then the GP said, "Oh no, that's fine. Like, that's quite common." I've only ever met one other person who can't smell, and that was in December. I met this person. December, November, yeah, not long ago. I met this person, so like to hear that it's kind of common, I was really surprised. But yeah, that's basically my day, and I just kind of wanted to get on this topic of, I've talked about it before, but being social. Now, last night as well, I went out. It was my friend's birthday yesterday, and I went out. They went out for dinner, but as they were going out, like about to leave, I just made myself the best. Oh my god, I'm not joking. The best dinner ever. I should be a chef. I'm sorry. I've been told I should be a barista. Today at what like this training day, I got told that I'd be such a good team leader because that's the job role I'm going for. Um, Instead of like an assistant, which is what I was going for. They're like, no, you should be top. I'm like, whoa. But now I should be a chef. So many ambitions. But yes, I made this like bowl of, it was like halloumi, spinach, falafel bowl. It was just like a big salad bowl, but it was just, oh, it was so good. Actually, I can't. I want to make that. I might have that again tonight. But so I made this, and then they went out to the botanist. I think I mentioned the botanist in my last episode when I went to Bath with my sister. It was my friend's birthday, so they went out for dinner there and cocktails. So I said, I'll eat this in an hour, I'll meet you there. So I got on the bus, went there, had a drink, and came back with them. And I'm so glad I did because I wasn't going to. But as I said in my last episode, this week is my last week at uni. It's Monday, I go home on Thursday, probably for good because there's a lot going on at home. And yeah, my university finishes so late, like the very end of June. I think it's even like the last official day, like term date, is something like the 3rd of July. And I know a lot of people who've already finished. I've pretty much finished. Like, yeah, I've got these language exams, but one, they're kind of just like grammar tests. Two, they're online. Three, they are 24-hour. And four, my linguistics one is multiple choice. So I can just do that even if I'm in the sun on holiday. Because when we didn't get our timetables for ages, I thought that was going to be the case. That I was like, mine's going to be the very last exam and I'm going to have to do it when I'm on my girls' holiday at the end of June. But luckily it wasn't that, so, but it's close enough. But so I don't know whether I'm going to come back after this week. I might come back down before I go to Portugal with the girls, just for a day. Maybe if I know it's Josh's birthday soon, so maybe I'll come back for that. But we'll see what's happening then. But my whole like kind of point was just saying I've talked about balance around food. I've talked about balance in social life, which is what I'm kind of touching on again. And again, in this self-growth journey, I love being alone and I love spending time alone. But being at university, obviously the last month, with everyone else stressing for exams, so they've all been revising together. I don't really have a lot to revise, so I haven't been going to the library with them or anything. But then when they've been wanting to do stuff, I've isolated myself as an excuse that, oh, I'm working on myself. And I feel like I have been using this excuse of my new journey, my new lifestyle, as a way to like kind of subtly isolate myself because I've always been this really introverted person. But the last few days have really showed that I can be extroverted if I want to, or I can just be a whole different person any day. Each day is going to be different. Each day you're going to want to be social or not social, or you want to see people, or you only want to see a certain amount of people. I know when I go home that some days I just want to spend all my time with my mum, and we might do gym together because we do gym classes together. I am that person that goes to the gym with their mum. And sometimes I stand in this weights class with her and I'm like, this is kind of embarrassing that I'm here with my mum and loads of other people her age and I'm the youngest by a long time. But you know what? I really don't care because the instructor is, mid-20s, mid-30s. They're also young, but I enjoy it and I'm gonna go with my mum because it's our time. It's great. But so some days I want to spend time with her or my friends or my sister. Other days I don't. Most days I do want to spend time with people, especially at home. But at uni, I don't know what it is, but I do isolate myself quite a lot because it's with people I don't know as well. But it's May 30th today on Monday, and so it's nearly June. So I've known these people at uni for a long time, and I am really comfortable around them now. I've told them so much, and I know so much about them, so it's fine, I guess. But I don't know, it's just I want to isolate myself and I'm just suddenly realizing that, and I loved being social today and yesterday. Yeah, some days more than others it takes that extra push. Like tonight I've been asked if I want to go out clubbing, and if you've listened to my other episodes, or if I guess you can kind of tell by how I've been speaking, but clubbing is a big no-no for me at the moment. I love drinking. As I said, I love cocktails. I love alcohol. Like, it's fun. I do enjoy alcohol. in a non-toxic way, I guess. But I would drink most nights, one or two. Like I have a glass of wine with dinner when I'm home, probably every night. I want to say. Last night, it was a Sunday, and obviously I was working today, so I was like, you know what, I'm not gonna have a glass of wine or have any alcohol because in my last episode again I was explaining my love for Pimm's, but I didn't have a glass last night. But then they were like, come for a cocktail, so I did, and it was going to be my night off. But tonight might be my night off, but I might end up going clubbing with the girls because I've not had a girls' night in ages. So I don't know. It is really tempting, but I just know that I'll feel bad in the morning. But then if I predict that and foreshadow it, like a self-fulfilling prophecy in a way, if you do psychology, or is that sociology or psychology? I think it's a mixture of both. But if I think like that, I'm going to feel like that in the morning because I know when I went to Bath on Thursday, I really did want to stay out and go out, if you will. And I didn't. And the next morning I woke up and I was like, oh, I'm so glad I didn't go out. But I kind of want to know how I'd feel if I did go out. And maybe we'll find out today. I don't know. Because again, it is my last week here, probably. So I'm a bit conflicted again. And I was very conflicted yesterday because I did want to go out for dinner because I did know about it earlier in the day and I did have that choice, but I've just got so much food that needs to be cooked. So I was like, no, I'm going to cook for myself. And I don't regret it because I had the best of both worlds. I had my own dinner and then I had a really good cocktail. On a slight going off tangent topic. There we go. Going off topic. What's your favourite cocktail? For me, that is actually quite a hard question because I am a sucker for margaritas and espresso martini. I feel like I'm such a basic girl for saying that. I'm sorry. I'm not too much of a fan for a pina colada anymore, just because they're so heavy. Like I do like them, but one, they're so big as well usually, and two, yeah, I just think as a drink, it's a meal, not a drink. So that's why I love a margarita because that is quite, I guess, slim, and you can have it with a meal, and obviously it goes so well with Mexican, and that is my favorite thing in the world. I literally love that combo so much. But yeah, those are my two favorites. But last night I had a French martini. It wasn't the best one I've had. I prefer the raspberry version. This one was obviously cherry because I think it is amaretto in a French martini. But this one wasn't. It was decent. It was decent. But what's yours? Because I go for the shorter drinks. My mum likes the longer drinks, obviously because cocktails do get you quite fucked. Sorry for saying that, but they do. I do love like the longer drinks. I do love a Long Island iced tea. I'm not a fan of a mojito. Like I'll drink it. Like I'll drink any cocktail, but I'm not a fan of a mojito because they just taste like water to me, just like minty water, which is what it is. But no, I'm not a really big fan of that one. Um, what else do I like? Obviously, passion fruit martini, definitely not passion fruit, porn star martini, but it is passion fruit. They're really hard to make as well. Like I like margs and espressos because they're just really easy to make. Those two are probably the easiest, but I don't know. I'm probably the cheapest, maybe. I'm not sure. Then a woo woo. I think that was the first cocktail. I don't know why we're talking about cocktails here, guys, but I think a woo woo was the first one I had and had quite often because that's just vodka, schnapps, and cranberry juice. So that is really cheap and again, really good for the summer. For parties me and my sis have hosted, we've done like the big summer Kilner jar tap things, like the big kind of tanks with the drinks tap thing. Like we filled that with woo woo before because it's just like a punch juice. It's quite light, I feel like, and you can drink a lot of it and it's not that sugary. Maybe the schnapps, but it's not that bad for you, I guess, because cranberry juice we all know is good for you. Um, and it's a good drink. And I think that was the first one that I really had a lot of. But yeah, get back on topic. The whole social aspect. I've said this before, like, you do not have to be social every single day, but be proud of the moments when you are. And then this kind of leads me on to say that as human beings, so one of the people who was training me today, she went off on this tangent randomly about journaling and self gratification, and everyone else thought it was weird, but I was like, yeah, like I think she was like in her 50s, and she was just talking about this, and it just sounded a bit weird coming from her, or just not weird, just foreign, because usually it's people like my age talking about this at the moment, and like Americans, and it's very much in our like news at the moment, our culture, our society in the younger age group. But she started talking about it, and I was like, oh my god, yes. And she was saying how as human beings we very often, well, no, not very often, but we seek the bad and the weaknesses in ourselves before we see the strengths. And she said that, you know, we pick out 20 bad things before we can pick out a good thing. And was talking about self reflection, and those kind of mindfulness activities. And she was saying that we need to start doing this more. And this is something that I've talked about so much. And we do need to start taking pride in ourselves and noticing when we achieve little things in our day, not just when we get good grades or when we get the job we want or when we finally get that house deposit or like materialistic things. I'm talking about mental achievements or just little things in the day that makes you happy. Like today, I was social, and there is no like defining time, I guess. It's just the whole day I've been social and really happy about it. Yesterday, I blogged about it actually. This was a really big thing for me. And again, a massive positive, which just changed my mindset and my mood, is at 10:30, I had a slice of cake. I didn't eat it all, I will say, but it was my friend's birthday, as I said, and I got a knock on my door at 10:30 from the other guys in my flat saying, we're doing a cake for her. And I was like, okay, I'll come and like celebrate it, but I won't eat it. And they're like, no, no, you have to eat it. Come on. Not kind of realizing what, you know, I'm kind of going through at the moment. But I was like, you know what, this is going to be a really big example and a really big challenge for my ED. And oh my gosh, I was so happy when like we all sat in the corridor and just started eating cake at 10:30 in the morning. And honestly, it was one the most uni student like time and like thing to do. But I wasn't hungry. I literally ate breakfast an hour before, and a part of me was getting really anxious. But then I just sat there and just ate it. I don't even like cake, but I was like, you know what? This is a really, really big challenge and a really good example of not knowing when you're gonna be faced with opportunities like that. And when someone offers you stuff, like, is it rude to turn it down? And I was like, no, it's like a celebration for my friend's birthday, so I'm gonna do this. And then I texted my mum straight away. I was like, I'm so proud of myself. I just sat and ate this, and I'm still gonna have lunch later, blah blah blah. And it was just such a, yeah, I that was a very big proud moment yesterday. But that is a defining moment. Today I haven't had necessarily a defining moment of when, you know, I've conquered something or I've like a really small like time frame where I've done something and I've been very proud of it. I've just been proud of how I have just detached myself from my own mind and my own buzz for a day, and but in a good way, in a really, really positive way. And I can reflect on it, and I've just journaled and I've just said I'm so proud of myself for being social, but not forcefully. I've just turned up and that's who I've been. Because with my mood this morning, I thought I was just going to be that person in the room today that was just in her own mind, really anxious, just wanting to leave and count down the hours. But I really wasn't. And I really, really enjoyed the day. So today's episode was kind of a ramble and kind of a bit mismatched in talking more about my life as a famous cocktail influencer. No, I'm joking. But I should really go into all these things I've been talking about: chef, mixologist, barista, the leader role. Like honestly, and what I'm trying to get across is that I'm so proud of today because all these things have kind of come together where I have just found really. This is going to sound really weird, but I just feel so happy that my life is starting to shape the way that I've wanted it to look like. In terms of, I'm becoming this person who can have all these dreams, and there's so many different paths that life could lead me down. As I've just like demonstrated, I could go down any of these routes, and I'm just never going to know. And again, that just shows the excitement of life that one day, like I've had today, you could just wake up and, well, no, today I didn't wake up feeling good. I was very anxious, but you could, like, just one day could just make you think, whoa, I could really do anything I want to do. And that's what today has showed me. And I don't know, that's just something that I really wanted to come on here and talk about. A little bit of inspiration, food for thought for the day. But yeah, I hope you've maybe taken something from this episode. Maybe if that's just being social and being proud of yourself for little achievements in your day, go for the things in your life. If you have a dream that you really want to do, if you've got something that you're really excited to do, just do it. But maybe you have to wait for that day to push you to do it and to send you over the edge, like today, or just a random day where you feel good, because we know that life is full of ups and downs. No one's life is perfect, so we've got to embrace that, and we've got to embrace that some days you're going to feel shit, other days you're going to feel on top of the world, and then those emotions can be mixed in the day. Like today I was so down this morning, but then suddenly I was just really happy. Maybe it's because I kind of had to be happy, I guess, in the environment I was in. Being in a professional environment, I couldn't really just sit and, just sulk in the corner as much as I might have wanted to when I stepped in. I don't know, just a little something there to think about, just about who you want to be and what you really want to take from this life, because this life is yours. Even if it doesn't feel like it is at the moment, you will find that one day and you'll realize that and you'll want to hang on to it because that is special. But thank you for listening to today's episode. Please leave a rate and review over on Apple Podcasts if you can. If not, I think you can give a rating on Spotify or Anchor or whatever streaming software you're listening to this on. Leave some comments. Head over to my Instagram at ellieoverfield_ and my blog Perpeto. If you want to leave any comments, give me a DM, give me a message, and I'll be happy to reply. So thank you and goodbye.